Welcome to Sex, Drugs, and Enlightenment with me, your host, Oakley Ogden. Every month or so, I interview someone who is seen as truly successful in their field, and I pull back the curtain to reveal what it takes so we can learn about that process. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Dayanand, an international spiritual teacher and brahmachari, or monk. You're going to get to know his journey from the party scene on the beaches of Bali to the ashrams of India. You will hear what was lost in his life, or rather who, and what was gained, and all the details as to how he dealt with that pain and that gain. In fact, it's the very pain that, when faced, set him free. So without further ado, let's begin. So we are here today with one of my favorite people on planet Earth, and that is not an understatement. I have known this incredible human being for almost 20 years. He was a mentor of mine when I was a young adult, and we have taught together in many different capacities and found our own expression in the world, and it is with great joy and gratitude that we have this beautiful soul with us today, Dayanand. Hello, darling.
Hi, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. So excited to share, to talk, and to be with all of you out there and to connect today.
Awesome.
It's a great pleasure.
Thanks. So I introduced you as Dayanand, but you do have a much more elaborate name that has come from quite a path in life.
Yeah.
So will you give us your full name?
Okay, so everybody, before I share my name, please know that it took about 20 years to get that name, because I'm a monk. We say brahmachari in the tradition, and in every step of the way of the spiritual path, you receive a name. One receives a name, one to demonstrate a new path in life and get a blessing through that name. There's an energy, there's something that name consciously is giving you to help you walk that path. Because we know walking inwardly can be tough sometimes and hard, so you need help. And throughout the time, receive different titles, really. It's titles, and they share what is my role, where are you in the path, and what's your place in the community, and how do you serve. So that's how I got my long name, which is Mahamandaleshwara 108 Acharya Dayanandas Maharaj.
So beautiful.
Yeah, we can do a podcast about the name.
I think
day.
we do. That's
Yeah,
a separate conversation, actually.
Yeah.
But I have been around for the receiving of those different titles and watched you become who you are today. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a long path, and in that, Mahamandaleshwara comes from, originally I am from the Vishnu Swami lineage. In the tradition, we have different lineages in India that comes from India, Vishnu and Shiva, and the Vishnu Swami. And I've been acknowledged as a Mahamandaleshwara, which is very rare for people in the West to receive that. It's a very traditional structure, a system for them to give myself and some of my also brothers and sisters, monks and nuns and women nuns that have received that is very auspicious.
It is. It's quite extraordinary. And our listener does not know the color of your skin or your background. They can hear your sweet accent. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and, some of your background.
Yeah, so I'm from Israel originally, actually born in Australia, but I cannot say I'm an Aussie because I was just a few months old. My parents brought me back to Israel, so I was raised in Israel most of my life. Went through my young years and army, and then left Israel mostly and traveled and had my awakening and started my path. And one place into this current path, and my spiritual teacher, Her Holiness Saima, and then become a monk. So we'll share more about that. That's kind of where I am. And today I teach. I teach a lot in Saima's organization and worldwide, and I have my own school, Shiviti.
That's it. So where we want to start right now is tell us what you offer in the world and what you do.
Yeah, so today I have a school that's called Shiviti, and it's shiviticenter.com. It's where you can find me out there and on YouTube. And I teach in English in the last few years also, and a lot in Israel also. I have students in Israel and center in Israel and school there. And I also train teachers, one of my great hobbies, and it's a part of my name. The name Acharya means that I am being trained and being initiated to initiate other people. So I love working with people and help them become teachers and leaders. It's a part of what I do. And I teach meditation and spiritual transformation, a lot of breath work, energy work, and how to find ourselves, to go inside and to realize who we are, to be very powerful, awakened in the world, which is what I love. And I love riding dirt bikes. It's the other thing I love to do.
It's true, yeah.
So I'm a monk that doesn't live in a monastery, which is different. And usually monks and nuns live in a monastery, which I did for about 10 years. And the last, it's been 10 years that I'm not in a monastery. So I live just like you in different places. And I have a center and teach a lot of courses and online courses and one-on-one sessions and in many retreats and many forms.
If I were wanting to work with you, one, how would I contact you outside, maybe just through the website? But where would we start? And ultimately, where would you take me?
Yeah, so the website is a place, shiviticenter.com, and also my email, which we can give and leave also, we'll share. And that's the way to connect with me. And a lot of people connect with me also one-on-one or do courses and big retreats. And where to start now, it's pretty easy. On the website, we have a course. And the course is usually you start with breath work and meditation as beginning to get to know the path. And then we have different courses. I offer different classes and courses really all over the world, in the US and a lot of Israel, but also here. So that's where usually starting. And some people like their personal path and just do only one-on-one, a personal meeting and just go in your own rhythm.
So do you coach people one-on-one?
Yeah, also.
Oh, that's
definitely
exciting to know.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a harder question. Are you ready? So can you tell us a little bit about your mission on this earth? What is the thing that drives you each day? What lights you up?
What lights me up is to see people awakening and fully stepping into their power and shining out in the world. This is what woke me up myself, to find a way to actually be fully within my heart, present, doing authentically what I am, and share it with other people and connect. And that's the mission. The mission is really to be with everybody and to help you learn how to connect with yourself and find that treasure inside of you and shine it. And sometimes it sounds very simple, yet there is a path to go there and to find that place within and to know how to really unlock. It's unlocking the wisdom, that love, that power that's within us. And fully express it. Because it's not enough just to know it within. For me, I'm in a path of action. I like to be in action. And you know me, how much I do and how much I connect and everywhere. So it's about presenting it and making a difference in the world, not just us. And this world, I'm done with it. The way society is, the way most of human beings, we live and not fully enjoying and happy and serving and being with each other in a powerful way, I'm just done with it.
There's so much suffering. There's so much suffering. How would you define awakening? And we'll come back to that suffering piece.
Awakening is a point where we are elevated to a new perception of who we are.
Wow.
And that new perception of who we are changes our perception of the world. It's like awakening, think about it, is like changing your glasses. For example, if you have, there's different glasses now with different kind of colors on them. Like you can see everything a little bit blue sunglasses, a little bit gray sunglasses, a little bit orange sunglasses. So when you change one, you see everything totally different. And when you change it to be transparent, really see what is, that's where the true magic comes.
Wow.
And awakening is changing the glasses. And sometimes being aware that I wear a glass. I have something that is my own perception of who I am. I hold myself and this is who I am. And that's my experience. And then from that experience, I'm experiencing everything else. So suddenly I'm experiencing something that even a little bit wider than what it was.
I also love how you used, like, you went from color to clear. And that spoke to me because I'm interpreting that as seeing things for actually how they are without adding or subtracting anything. An element of being so purely with exactly what's there internally, I'm referring to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when it's internally, it's also exactly what's there outside.
Yeah.
And we have to, one of the things to realize, and when we get to understand in the path, and when this awakening, this expansion, and it can be like an amazing moment when we read a book. That suddenly, wow, something touched me and I'm clear. Or walking on the beach. For me, it's like, could be a great dirt bike riding. And it could be a mystic, spiritual meditation experience and energy and light and things like that also. When that is happening to us and that is happening to me, there is an inner experience that something is different. It's not knowledge. It's not just reading it in the book. It means it happens to me and I can see something different. And each time that is happening, and when you realize you change your perception, start to realize that actually I don't see things as they are. Even myself. And that's the greatest opening. Because I'm open to know that there's more. And until that moment, usually education, society, the way we communicate and everything around us pretty much puts us in a box.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's not freedom.
Yeah. Let's come back to the idea of freedom. There is, I think as a psychotherapist, I'll say it this way. As a therapist, I get to sit with a lot of people's suffering and their deep, unrealized desires. What's between them and what they actually really want in the world for themselves. Whether it's a healthier partnership, whether it's the ability to express themselves more freely. So what you just shared is sort of a description of that place that so many people are yearning to go toward, that feeling of awakening. But yet, as our perception changes, I've noticed for a lot of my clients, I've noticed this in my own development, I know you can speak to it too, it can be scary for some people because friendships change, relationships shift, even some of our passions change as our perception changes. So there's a fear. It's like we want it and we're scared of it. Can you talk a little bit about that tension for people?
Yeah. Well, the first thing when that tension occurs, realize you're in a great place. That's awesome. Meaning we are touching the place of uncomfort. And we have so much emphasis on being comfortable in our lives.
So much.
And in our society. And I live here in the US also for many years, and I lived in Israel for years, and I lived in India for years, and I've been in Africa, and been all over the world. And it's a perception a lot about culture also.
Yeah.
In the West, we have a lot of emphasis about being comfortable. So being comfortable a lot of time is staying in the same place because I think this is what I know and I get used to it and then it feels like it's comfortable for me. So I want to stay in it.
It's what's familiar.
It's familiar.
Yeah.
And the familiar even translated to being safe for us, which actually most of and a lot of that familiar causing me suffering and limits me. And you're right, when that awakening happening and we open, there's a change, correct? Like what I feel, how I feel, what I touch, it can be more sensitive, can be more vulnerable, can be deeper in that. And suddenly I'm changed, but not everything around me changed. And the people I know perhaps didn't change. And the other thing, the people I know see me like I was yesterday still and hold me like that. So all of that creates a conflict and creates a tension, which is great because it means that I'm actually changing and breaking out.
Oh, I love that.
It is challenging. It is challenging because facing all of that, meaning I need to face another place that is real for me, okay? And I'm not used to express it, and I'm not used to be with people in that, and I'm afraid that they will leave me and they wouldn't be there, and a lot of things that are not known
Yes.
will happen.
It's a space of real vulnerability. And that is a misunderstood quality, especially in the Western culture. We think vulnerable means being weak, but vulnerable means opening up to our true nature. And that's the most powerful state that we can be in.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised in Israel. And in Israel, we are all soldiers. Everybody goes to the army.
That's right.
It's a nation of soldiers. Okay. We don't understand that other places in the world that it's not, you have to go. And usually you're not trained to be vulnerable, which means you can get hurt in different ways. And it's not just in Israel, it's all over the world. We keep it inside in all that. Yet that, as you said, that vulnerability of opening myself, meaning that I can sense what's inside of me. And it's many times very refined, more subtle, I say. My main teaching in the way we work is about energy, realizing that everything is energy. And one very simple is to speak about like my hands that are gross and I can touch them. But then my thoughts, could you touch your thoughts? Could you feel your emotion with your hands? Usually not. They're more subtle. So to feel, to be sensitive to what's more subtle, that's vulnerability. That meaning I'm willing to be with this. I'm willing to recognize, to learn, and take time to stop everything and feel what it is and be what it is. And in that place, I say it is hard to be outside and with other people sometimes. That means we need support.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because you don't walk this path alone. Even though it's about us with us, me with me in this path, the deep internal work, you don't need to do it alone.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend even. I would say,
very good.
And in our scriptures, and I'm not a traditional person, I look like that, as a monk and a big beard and a uniform kind of a thing.
Dayanand has a beautiful linen, we call it a kurta, but a long shirt and a beard that almost reaches his belly button. Yeah.
Almost, below the heart chakra.
Below the heart chakra, yeah.
Yes. So, and the traditional always in all the years, walking the spiritual path. And it means spiritual path meaning you go inside. Because it's about know thyself, to learn who I am. Do the work and learn and therapy and exercise and practices and all of that. I'm meant to be in a group, to have friends that are doing that, and to have a mentor that walks with you, that there is a guide. Because we meet ourselves in such vulnerable places, and it can be very painful inside of them. And it is helpful to have someone that holds my hands over there and I can be with, and someone that cares just for my evolution. Because let's be real, the whole world outside, how many people you meet throughout your day, their main interest is for you to evolve, be freer, be fully joyous, and powerful yourself.
Not a lot of people.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
And even those that want that, maybe your partner, your parents, they have a lot of other things to do.
Yeah.
So they cannot focus on that.
Yeah.
So the reason we have a mentor and a system, or you come to someone like Oakley or myself and another path, is to have people that we walk the path and be focused on that with you. And many times we do also classes and have other people, so you can speak with people like-minded that are going through similar things.
That's right. That's how my path opened. I mean, I started seeking, I would say, at a young age, and then slowly resonated with others who were looking for something more. And we came together, we would talk about that, and step by step by step, I was sort of passed on from one mentor to the next until I found my place in a community where I knew I could do my deep, deep growth work and healing. Will you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today?
Yes.
What did your path look like, Dayanand?
Yeah, how did I get this huge beard?
Yeah,
suddenly,
where have you been, sir? Come on.
Yes, it's a bit of funny, but one of the main places or the reason my life has changed because I wanted to purchase certain shoes.
What?
Yeah, that would be unbelievable. And I'll go a little bit backward and I'll come back to that, what happened there. So I'm from Israel and raised and really also was all over the world. Yet since a young age, my experience was a lot of being a rebel.
Yeah.
And I didn't fit in what happening around me and my classes and the family and everything. It felt like I know something, I'm feeling something is really doesn't make sense the way it works, the way people are with me, the way I'm with people, the society. Had a little bit religious family, not so, went to synagogue and even God and all that. I was like, that's not the place, couldn't fit in with me. And what happened, I become very angry at everything. I become like, this doesn't work. This should be destroyed. This is like bad. And
you were against things,
I was against
right?
things. What happened? I was against because I didn't fit in.
Yeah, and it was prior to wanting to be proactive about it. It was just angry at the things that weren't meeting you, that you didn't agree with, that you didn't feel understood by.
Yeah, totally.
Got it.
And it wasn't another way for me. I didn't see another way other than being angry about it and being against it and like many times be disappointed also. And nobody taught me that I can do something about it. I can go inside, that I can do work with it, and there's ways to find it. So I struggled with it, and I was pretty bright. I managed myself through high schools to things, and good grades and things like that. But
you played the game.
I played the game. I learned how to manipulate the game mostly to kind of just what I need.
Well said.
And be outside of it and have a lot of pain. A lot of pain in my life. And my life gave me reasons to be against also. I had a brother that was in his army years. I was 16 and he committed suicide.
Wow.
From being a soldier where he couldn't be a soldier. He was so vulnerable, like
so
we say.
So you lost a brother to suicide?
To suicide in the army.
Wow.
Not just because he wanted out of the army, but he couldn't get out, so he took his life away from that.
That's happening a lot right now through the world. Suicide is a big answer. It's not an answer, but that is the perception. One of the color of glasses many people are wearing.
For a way.
Yeah, a way out.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how that affected you?
Yeah, and in many ways. One, I understood why my brother wanted a way out. I was conscious enough at the age of 16 to realize that he was a vulnerable person that didn't fit in society and had challenges and did not find a way out. And just that was his way out. So it wasn't anger at him, it was anger at the world. How come there is a world like that and I'm living inside of a world and a society that this can happen? That there's no way, we don't know the way. And what mostly it affected me is with even more anger, like at the world. I even remember the moment where I was like, God, you should just destroy everything. Like Noah and the story and the flood came in. I was like, there's no way for society. We should just destroy it. So there was a lot of pain, a lot of sadness that mainly went into being angry at what happens in life. And I didn't know the way out. So what I found is smoking.
Yeah. Smoking what, sir?
Smoking dope.
Yeah.
Specifically hashish, because I didn't like marijuana. I was in Israel. It was a special kind of it, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And I was already a rebel.
Yeah.
And I had huge emotions inside of me. And I didn't think anybody understands me. People did not come to me to ask me how I feel, what's there. They were pitying me. They felt like they need to feel sad with me. I don't know if people say maybe empathy, but that's not exactly empathy. But in Israel and where I grew, it's like people die in the army and all that. And the way to help them is just being sad with them. Like, this is so bad. And they come and just sit with you and that. And none of that raised me up.
Right.
All of it just like, I felt heavy. Yeah. And I felt lots of responsibility, and responsibility for my family.
Right.
My girlfriend didn't really know what to do with me. And somehow I found smoking for the first time. And I felt I could express myself.
There's a level of like relief and freedom in there.
Relief and freedom.
Yeah.
There was like, it opened my expression and my imagination, and I started tapping into my mystic side, which you know how mystic I am. It's like visions and the universe and truth and what's real.
Right.
And, and there was a way to not feel the pain.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, because they exist together with drug use. Is that freedom, but also the deep numbing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not feeling.
Yeah.
And also didn't need to face that. Because there was another way for me.
That's right. We get to avoid what's there and turn to something else. Yeah.
So it was something outside that I took and
but
kind
it
of
served
made
you
me
in
work.
some way on your path.
It served me great.
Yeah.
It held me together.
Yeah.
I think it kept me not falling apart.
Yep.
Totally in my life in that point. And it also opened what I call today spirit. The place of, I started to connect more. I gave place to that place of truth, of universe, of there's something bigger. Like I know there's something exists, and even experiences of being beyond this body.
Yeah.
Being something that is huge, that today I call spirit. That gave me a venue to access that. And I liked being high. I really liked being high. Also today, just in a different way. So I went on with that, and I became very addictive.
Yes, because something you and I have talked about in the past is that desire to be high, which is actually a normal desire through centuries and centuries of human brain and evolution. Yes. There's been a desire for ecstatic experiences as long as humans have been on this planet. But when they're temporary, they're not as satisfying. They give us insight into something. And I remember the day when I was high watching a sunset, and I thought to myself, this was after years of smoking weed, and I thought, this sunset is really beautiful to me because I'm high. I want to see the beauty that I see right now all the time without drugs. And that was the day that I put it down. Because I just wanted the sustained experience. I knew because I was connecting with it that it must be, I could access it. Okay, so there's this beauty that I can experience.
Yes.
But I didn't love them when it went away.
Yes.
It left me lower, actually.
It leaves us lower,
Yeah.
and it leaves us without, it leaves us empty in some place.
Yeah. And with our feelings that we haven't felt.
And we haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
And haven't worked with.
Yeah.
So it's at times it's even vulnerable, but not in a way to know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And how to be with it. And I love being high. I love being high. I become very good in that as I do with what I do. I love to become professional.
Very true.
Very, very true.
You should see this man on a dance floor. He is the most ecstatic high that there is.
Yes, and I found a venue, and it took a few years. And only after, even through the army, I managed to do that without getting caught. And only after the army, I went to Thailand. To dance, to party, to be with my friends. Usually we Israelis tend to, after the army, we need an intense experience that will meet it at least. And so we go.
You need to counteract
we
it.
need to counteract it. And
yeah.
we go either, a lot of us go to India and Thailand and dance and party and today trance, So I went and did that with a couple of my friends. I definitely was lost. I didn't know what to do in my life. Anger was just bigger. It was physical even, challenges of digestion, a lot of things from all of that emotions and what happened inside of me, actually. And I knew there's more, but I had no access to that. And that's how I went there. And when I went there, I started dancing a lot, which I still love. And I smoked. I didn't took LSD and other things. My friend took around me. And I just partied. And I danced a lot. And in one of those moments there, one of the time on the island, my friend wanted to go to a Tai Chi school. There was a Tai Chi school there, very beautiful, on the mountains, just like an hour walk from the whole party scene. Wow. And my friend had an idea about that because it's also a martial art. It's a very eternal martial art, like yoga and about energy. And in that place, they sold shoes that you can dance with, like ninja shoes.
I know exactly
that
what you're talking. Like almost slippers.
Almost slippers that people used to take and put like shining colors on them, glowing colors that when you dance, it glows.
In the black light.
Yeah. And the parties, and imagine these are outside parties in the jungle of hundreds and thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that shoes, and they sold that in that school. So
it's a perfect reason to go.
Perfect reason to go.
Don't you love how spirit sometimes disguises the next thing with just a small desire? We think it's about the shoes. Yeah.
The little thing there was true. And my friend caught it and said, you can buy shoes there. So I said, okay, I'll come with you. Wow. So then I go there, and then that master tells me, he can sell me the shoes, but he's a Tai Chi master. I have to take Tai Chi classes, and then he'll sell me the shoes.
Oh my God,
so I was like, if you know me in life also, when I want something, nothing is going to stand in my way.
It's a very determined, focused man, yes.
Very determined, focused person here. So I was like, okay, I'll take a few classes and my friend. And then I stopped smoking. It started because there was not the kind I wanted to smoke because I'm very meticulous. They ran out of the kind that I like. So I was like, okay, I'm not getting anything else and paying a lot of money. And then it's just happened. I didn't smoke for a couple of weeks.
That's an interesting coincidence, though.
Spirit plays. And then I went, silver, you can say, not smoking for a couple of weeks to that school, got the shoes, did a few classes, and then something started to happen to me, which I never imagined. And realized, my dears, that now yoga is out there. Chakras, yoga, all of the. In my time, 30 years ago, this is 32 years ago, 30 years ago, it wasn't spoken. A few friends, something, but I didn't know about all of this. I didn't know about yoga and chakras.
Yeah,
and
the
energy.
language wasn't out there.
Language, and I wasn't a spiritual person. If I was an angry person in the world and a successful, manipulative one, you know. And I went there and did a few, and I started feeling something moving inside of my body.
Wow.
Energy moves inside my body. And I was like, I had a teacher to speak with, and he said, it's real. And we did another class, and there's another energy, and I started feeling good. And one day I was just, I think after a week of classes, morning and evening, and I was just sitting there in my bungalow in the beautiful jungle, and the water, the most beautiful, amazing place in the world. God. And I'm starting hearing things inside of my head, like inner voices, like inner sound. And I started to see energy and light around me.
And what did that look like? Like, what do you mean energy and
everything
light?
Has an aura. You probably heard about the word aura, meanings an energy field around a living thing. Like every tree has a little bit of energy shining around it. Trees and vegetables are alive and they communicate, they have consciousness by energy vibration. So that energy, you can actually see it. Like you see body and stars and a tree. Around the tree there's aura and light and energy, and I never knew that before, but I suddenly start seeing energy and light around things. And then there was an animal, and I saw the energy around the animal and trees, and I felt connected to them. I saw the energy around me. I start experiencing what people said to me they're experiencing when they took mushrooms. That nature speaks, that you are connect, you are one kind of, and it moves. And it's like, I didn't take mushrooms. I'm silver for like a few weeks, and I went into that. And it was a whole night. I mean, I won't go deeper, but a whole night of that experience, which led me to see energy and light.
So you had a fundamental awakening. Life-changing awakening experience.
We call it Shaktipad in the tradition, which is an energy awakened within us to open our consciousness, our perception of ourself and reality.
Wow.
And it was strong without something that I took from outside. Because many times what drugs and ecstasy and LSD does, they bring that experience by taking something. And then it doesn't happen fully harmoniously and naturally. So for me, it happened, and it happened very strong. And it wasn't just seeing energy and light. It was my experience was of peace and love.
So you had an emotional experience.
A total emotion experience of being peaceful and being loved like never in my life. I wasn't angry at the universe and at people.
Wow.
And it didn't go away. I woke up understanding how come my brother killed himself and accepting it for the first time in my life and not being angry at him for that he suffered. He didn't have a way out. And that was his way because he didn't know anything else. And everybody around me, my parents and other people and teachers, didn't know how to handle me. Didn't know how to be with me. And they are suffering themselves from their own pain of childhood and many things that happened to them and the challenges of that. And I had a moment of seeing all of that, which I didn't know means compassion. Meaning I understood my own suffering. I saw how I was birthed and how my parents left me with my grandmother and father and I was alone and how I had to manage things and I had feeling like I need to fight with everything for my life and then I felt abandoned and all of that.
All of it.
I just saw how all of that led to being an angry, very painful person that has a lot inside of him that doesn't know what to do with it.
I think you just spoke to our listener somewhere. I know that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I knew there's something different.
Yeah.
I knew I have such a huge gift inside of me. We want to express ourselves. We are so unique and special. I didn't know how to do that. And I met suffering and struggle to that. And I met like that I have to do something in order to feel better from outside. To have a girlfriend, to smoke something.
To make money.
To get approved by my fellow people.
To be liked by my community and friends.
By my community, all of that, which is great, but it all didn't last, and it made me a slave.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's a strong word.
It's a very strong word, especially right now.
Especially right now, it's like we think about what is freedom. I was enslaved to my own desires in a way of what do I need to get in life in order to be happy. And I wasn't happy. And in that moment, I felt happy, peaceful inside of me.
And it had nothing to do with anything outside of yourself.
Anything outside of myself.
In fact, the world hadn't even really changed around you.
Nothing has changed. My friend came the next morning to me and we spoke, and I spoke differently.
Wow.
And nothing has changed. And I realized that is my nature. Because I have a really troubled, challenged life. And you can just hear a little bit of my story. I wouldn't go to a huge amount of stories that luckily I'm not in prison from drugs and stuff and mess and things that I've done, by grace. And
there were opportunities though.
A lot of opportunities,
Yep.
And I had an awakening, a moment of grace that showed me that it's up to me and it can be different. And it's inside of me. And for me, that has been the first time in my life that I felt empowered. And my first desire was to help people to do that.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know why, but that was my desire. I was a teacher in the army. They put me in a school with kids to teach electricity, and I loved teaching. That was the first time I got to be with someone that we can educate and help have a new moment. For me, it was like the greatest thing in life.
Wow.
So in my awakening, I was like, if my name was Doron, that was such in a mess and on the edge of being in prison and I don't know what to do to myself and what to be in life, can be happy and peaceful. Everybody can.
Wow.
And when I got that moment, I felt like, the stories about heaven on earth, just how you say fluffy story, like fairy tales.
Yeah.
That was become my story. I felt and I've seen all of humanity will live like that because this is our nature. I realized that inside of me, the reason why we want to be happy, the reason why I wanted to get high and blissful is because there's bliss inside of me.
That's it.
It's my nature. Understand, in the dance trance party, I never took ecstasy. Everybody came for me for ecstasy. They thought
you were the high
I'm on
guy.
ecstasy because I was more blissful, happy, smiling than everybody on the dance floor in a trance rave party.
Wow.
And that's a true story.
Wow. I believe it because I know you, so I get it.
We danced together.
We danced together, and yeah.
It's inside of me. And I found it inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped smoking. It took me a few months.
Mm-hmm.
I smoked a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I'm higher. I'm feeling more blissful. But what happened? There's been a quality of peace in me that never happened when I smoked.
Yes.
There was always something troubled in my mind when I was smoking or after that. Thing was not nice after a while. And all of you, if you smoke, you know what I'm talking about somewhere there. Even with the shanti, with the peacefulness. And I found deep peace. And I found a better depthness. And then I smoked, and then it became less. I smoked a couple of times after that, and my high was less even. So I was like, I got something real here that is even better. So I was ready to drop all of that and change my life from that.
You went against the world to for the world.
Yes. And that changed my life because I was less angry. And pain did not stop. Don't hear me like that. I wasn't fully in what we say enlightened, fully free of my own perception of who I am.
Yeah.
I was very strong. A lot of healing happened, yet it came back a little bit. Things came, and I had a good teacher.
Yeah.
I started studying and doing that and having a mentor that helped me work on my emotions.
So this is an important point, right? Because let's say it like this. To create transformation, we need two things: an intense experience, and then the most important thing, consistency. And so many of us get addicted to just having the intense high,
Yes.
the workshop high,
Yes.
the drug high,
Yes, the awakening high,
the
mystical
high.
experience,
That's it.
taking ayahuasca high.
That's right.
Doing one thing,
We've
even
made
a good
it,
therapy.
we've arrived,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
But the space between those moments often gets overlooked
Yes.
and underestimated. Those experiences are there to just give us insight into what is possible. And then we get to take the opportunity to actually lean in, do our work,
Yes.
and
we
bring
say,
forth the things that are really in the way
and
of
we
that
say,
being permanent.
do the work in our
Let's talk
school.
about that.
What does it mean do the work? And in the tradition, you may have heard the word sadhana. Sadhana in the yoga means spiritual discipline. It's a spiritual structure where you accept to move yourself into and follow. The one blessing, I had a few blessings, but one very, very strong blessing I got is my dad has been a very hard worker in his life. And he always have seen the results of his hard work. And he educated me.
You
from a
had
young
discipline.
age. I had discipline.
Yeah.
I worked in my holidays. I worked hard. And I learned that when I work hard, I get what I want.
Nice.
And I want to get what I want.
Yeah.
This is something about me. I don't want to not get what I want.
Yep.
So I was willing, and I learned how to work hard, bring results. So I came with that, probably from, we say, other lifetimes also, souls and all that. So when I had my awakening, I was ready to continue and work hard. I moved right away into the school. I right away had a teacher. I right away did classes morning and evening. I continued to be very dedicated to that. And I searched for therapy and people to help me. Because after a little while, I had a fall down of thinking maybe I got mad.
Oh, like maybe you went crazy.
Maybe I went crazy because people
Yeah.
around me a lot, I don't know if you know, take LSD, take trips, and
They don't
crazy,
come back.
don't come back fully. And I help people like that in my work.
That's right.
And I was scared maybe it happened to me, and how can I be in the world? I'm so different. I'm seeing energies around people. I'm feeling what they feel. I have all that pain inside of me. And I know to get high, and what do I do with that? So I took a few months. I wanted to just stop everything. I went back, tried to look for regular work. It happened for 3 months. I got depressed, and I flew away back to India and found my teacher again. And so I worked with him.
Wow.
But what I learned is I can work. It's uncomfort. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Imagine meeting a pain of losing my brother, of being in a place where I realized how harsh I've been on other people. I realized my anger made me, how you say, aggressive to other people around me. And when you love so much, you feel how much you hurt people. That was the toughest thing in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine
to experience how I hurt people, not just how people hurt me. And what was helpful that I had help. But that time I met Saima and my teacher and love and therapy, spiritual therapy, and work where I can speak, where I can understand and learn how to be with my emotions, how to accept that, how to live with that, and how to have transformation through that. And it came through being consistent, showing up, being brave to show up and to face it. Because I tell you one thing, when you face it, you become free. And there's empowerment there. Every time my light, my inner power of who I am and my desires, what to accomplish, and it's a huge thing in the world, become more accessible, become more available. And
So-
there's less downs.
And there's less downs, yeah. So the more you faced the pain inside, the more capacity you had to be with yourself.
Yes.
And the more capacity you had to be with yourself, the more inner freedom you experienced.
Gained. And you know, when you're saying that now so clear, it is a muscle. You said being resilient and the ability to heal is also a muscle. And I'm just getting that another way.
I see you
Right
getting it, and
now,
I'm getting it
it's
too.
like-
Yeah.
The more I allowed myself and faced inside of that, I could handle more
Yes.
and be with myself. And as a teacher, it made me also be able to be more with other people.
It has us gain the ability to be more compassionate. We have more room for other people's journey and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And we're
challenges. Stronger through that, and stronger through that, because don't you feel when you face something, you can just be there strong for other people also?
Yes.
And when you jump off a cliff one time, you see it's
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, we had a river trip, rafting.
Yep.
And we had a river trip rafting, I think half a year before that. We did whitewater rafting.
Dayanand went with some of his dear friends,
Yes.
some of his
Monks' buddies.
monk buddies. Yes, exactly. They went on a rafting trip last year, had so much fun, they decided to do it again.
Yeah, I do it
Monks
again.
on a river.
And it was like water rafting.
Yep.
And, I was scared a little bit,
Yep.
but the guys were like, muscle people. I'm skinny. I'm not like a muscle people. I was like, I can trust them, and all that. We did some white water and everything went well.
Yeah.
Almost flipped, but it went well. Okay, this trip we went again and something didn't went well. We flipped over the raft and I was scared and I went into the water and I was under and I pulled out. And I was like, first moment scared, but hang to the raft and we went like for a few minutes on the raft, we can get out. But what happened, I become stronger. I just realized like flip over, I can come under and grab the rope.
Yep.
And that's okay. And I faced it.
Wow.
So through facing it,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll do the same thing with them right now.
Right.
I don't have that same way of being afraid that I cannot handle it.
It's so well said.
And in my spiritual path, when I faced my deepest challenge, which was when I realized how much I hurt other people around me, people I love, I stayed. I just stayed. I just didn't run away.
What do you mean you stayed?
I stayed being present and feeling how painful it is.
So you
I didn't
let
run
yourself
away.
feel
I
the
let
pain.
myself feel the pain. I let myself even feeling not knowing how this pain can go away.
Wow.
I was in a place where I felt like I don't know if I can change my personality
Yep.
because I knew that I wanted to be a good person at that time.
Yep.
But I knew that this is my path. And I'm just staying with the people I know love me and the teachers that can take care of me. I didn't know how to heal. I felt like I have no chance even to heal. And something inside of me said that just stay
Wow.
and feel that and be in this despair, you say in English?
Despair
place.
Yes.
But don't try to not feel it. Don't run away. Don't do like you did when you're young. Don't avoid it. I knew if I run away and I could go away from my community and even stop being a monk or just go on a motorbike right now, or I can do some other things.
If you could escape.
I could escape. I could do these things, and I can do this thing and avoid what I'm feeling. I could do that. Something inside me knew that will not heal me.
Wait,
so
this is
stayed.
amazing because you didn't even have like an idea of what would be around the corner if you stayed.
And I was a teacher by then.
Yeah.
And a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the bright side.
You didn't know the bright side.
No.
But you had that ability to listen to that tiny, tiny, tiny voice inside that just said, please don't go.
Don't go away.
Just stay here with this pain.
Exactly. Just be here in this pain. And even in the scripture, in the spiritual path, they call it the void, the place of despair. There's a place you go through sometime in your life where it feels like there's no light. And that place, when we don't avoid or hide or just try to not feel it, gives an access to the most powerful point or place within us. Trusting the unknown. Because whatever I knew was inside my current awareness. And this is enlightenment. This is the teaching of what is enlightenment, actually.
We've arrived, yes. I was waiting for this.
Because it is like, meaning like in that time, I only knew what I knew. I knew who I thought I am.
Right.
All that I knew in my awareness and my experience was limited, was just what I am. All the great teachings, all the great experiences, all the great meditations, all the great enlightenments or awakenings, all of that was amazing. I realized that was limited. What I knew who I am in that moment is not who fully I am. Was a tiny part. The spiritual path teaches us that we are multidimensional, that we are huge.
So are you talking about the person you thought you were was personality?
The Dayananda is personality.
Personality.
Yeah.
So your identity in the world.
My identity in the world, my identity of who I am was a certain identity.
Okay.
And I believed
who I am. You were a man, you were Israeli.
I'm Israeli, I did a certain healing, I'm a monk, I have certain capacities, this is light, a certain training, this is love. All of that was my identity. Was who, if you ask me who I am, I was more conscious. Some people ask you who you are. You say, I'm a mother, I'm a lawyer. I knew I'm more than being a teacher. I have a personality who I am. There's love, there's qualities. I knew I'm a soul. But still, it's my identity of who I am. And
it was still a box.
It was still a box. And that's the amazing thing. Whoever you think you are, everybody that listens to me right now, and if you know I've got a big beard and I grew it for 20 years and I've done a lot of spiritual path in many lifetimes, if you want to hear something wise from me, who you think you are is not who you are. Is limited. It may be magnificent. And please know that I was magnificent in that time. I had my fall, but just an hour before that fall, I was revered in my community already by then, and great roles, great respect.
You had success.
I had success. I even touched fulfillment.
We do need to name that.
I had great success. Okay, all of that. And all of that was in my identity, and that's limited. And in that moment of despair, I was in despair because all of what was accessible for me is who I identify with myself. If you identify yourself as A, B, C, D, please know that your life game only plays with A, B, C, D. And that's enlightenment says, the spiritual scripture said, know thyself. Why? Because you are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E, D, D, all the letters in English. And in Sanskrit, there's 54. There's more letters. And in Hebrew, there's a little bit more. And every letter is a piece of creation. It's a sound. And there's a vibration. And there's consciousness. And there's quality of love, wisdom, peace, intelligence, creativity. All of that is there. Well, I was only aware of like a little piece of it.
A tiny percentage of it.
Of who I am and who I identify myself. You identify yourself. You have an ID card. And it's not your driving license. It's the box in your head. It's what I think I am, my perception that is controlled by the patterns that I got from a young age. I was educated. All of that was still in my box and limited. And in that moment of despair, not running away, had me jump into unknown. We call it faith or trust. We call it mystic, heart. When you're in love, do you operate from just what you know?
No.
No. When you're in love, when I was in love when I was 16, I rocked it. I did things I didn't think I can.
Yeah.
I went beyond my identity.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
It also happened when you suffer, when I suffer. When someone has a disease, it makes us go beyond also, correct?
I can attest to that.
So spiritual awakening goes either from big suffering, a big pain, and there's awakening that because it takes us beyond who we think we are and capable, or big love.
Yep.
In this love, in this experience in our life, yeah? So at that moment for me was from pain. The pain was so strong, but it made me have faith, like saying, I am willing to jump off the cliff to what I don't know.
Yeah.
There's only something I don't know that can save me here. I don't know. I don't know how to heal myself. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything. All I want to do is run away. And I wanted to run away. But I didn't and stayed. And by staying, something new revealed itself. Because I become open to being who I am beyond what I know. Enlightenment is you realize who you are beyond the limited perception you had a millisecond before that. And it's grand. I tell you one thing, it's grand. We are blissful within us. We are wisdom within us. We are knowledge within us. We are power within us. We are capacity to be in pain, in sadness, in challenges, way beyond what we think. Way beyond what society wants us to think we have, way beyond what your government wants you to think you have, way beyond what the health
care system
wants you to think you have, because all of that is built in order to make you need something outside of you.
There it is.
And it's not because of these people, society is not bad. It's just trained like that.
Yeah.
We are trained as human to go outside of that, us. And it's limited. The drugs that I took were great, but they were limited. The LSD we take sometimes open ourselves to see energy and mystical experiences, yet it's limited. It creates open in your energy system that allows you a window to the truth, yet only a small window. And many times we don't have the capacity to digest that window.
Yeah.
So when we can use sometime even, there's some spiritual drugs and some things that help us to heal even, heal traumas and all that. And when it's used in the right way and used with a mentor, you can evolve from that. Like I evolved and many of you evolved from that. Yet know that there is more inside.
Yes.
And from that point, I even went even more inwardly into myself to discover, to realize, and to use an amazing system to continue awaken.
Thank you for joining us for this extraordinary conversation. And if you aren't done soaking up all that Dayanand has to offer, you can join us in part 2, where we get into the practice of how to stay with those deep feelings that scare us so much. Honestly, it's not to be missed. A free course, if I can say that, and I'll be your guinea pig. So if you want to reach out directly to Dayanand or learn more about what he offers, you can find him at www.shiviticenter.com. That's SHIVITICENTER, Shiviti Center, or send him an email at info@shiviticenter.com. That's info, INFO, at shiviticenter.com, SHIVITICENTER.com. And in the meantime, you gorgeous soul, just remember that everything you've ever desired lives inside of you. And the real journey is the one of discovering this treasure.